Okay, a very good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. It's great to see that we've got a room with over 60 people in today. If we could just observe the screen share information that I just flashed up, I'm just going to put this up one more time just for the benefit of people who are joining us as I speak. Just some protocols with around how the session is going to work from a Zoom perspective. So I'm just going to share that again just for you to just take a quick look. And if we could observe these protocols, please, as we go, that would be really helpful. I'm very happy to take questions. You'll probably want to make a note of some of these. If you want to ask questions as we go, you can use the chat function. If you want to speak and ask your questions verbally, we can do that as well. We'll probably do that at the end of the session when I'll make plenty of time to talk to you at the end of the presentation. Okay. I'm just going to admit a few latecomers and then we'll get going. Okay, just so I can check that that what I've just said didn't fall on deaf ears, can you all just give me a thumbs up on your reactions if you can hear me? Yeah, use the reactions button at the bottom of the screen and just give me a thumbs up so I can make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Looking good. All right. Okay, well, very well, welcome everyone. My name is Andy Stott. I'm the head of popular music at the Royal Northern College of Music. And I'm delighted that we're able still to do our open day, albeit remotely, but I'm sure we're all used to working in these ways at the moment. Seem to start every conversation I have at the moment with, "Can you hear me?" But I'm glad that you all can, and I hope you're all staying safe and well. Today's presentation is going to take you through what the program looks like and what the student experience is like at the RNCM for popular musicians. And I've also invited into our meeting some current students, and we're going to play their music videos. So you're going to get to hear some live-ish music. And then I'm going to have a chat with the students who are in those videos so that you can get it from them, what their experiences are like at the college. So there's going to be a bit of chat from me, bit of music, and then me, and then some music and so on as we go through the next couple of hours. So hopefully that'll break things up nicely for you and you can enjoy some of the work that our students are currently producing. So let's make a start. Okay, so I'd like to begin by telling you about the course. The RNCM offers the UK's only 4-year Bachelor of Music degree in popular music. Our course is unique. It's not unique within the world. We are one of a handful of conservatoires around the world who offer 4-year bachelor degrees. And I'll talk a little bit later on in the presentation about our partnership with those institutions. But if you want to study on a 4-year BMUS programme in popular music in the UK, we are your only choice. And we'd like to think we'd be your #1 choice. And hopefully, as we go through this morning's proceedings, that will confirm that that is the case for you. When I conduct interviews at audition, and I ask students why they've applied to the programme, I get 3 responses, not in any particular order, but the same 3 kind of float to the top. And those 3 are the institution itself and the reputation of the RNCM. We are widely regarded as a world-class institution. We're an award-winning institution. I'm sure you've read about this on our website. But students are definitely attracted by I guess, the kudos or the reputation of the institution. And being an RNCM student is a really special thing. And going forward into the world of professional music and working as a professional musician, it is a calling card. It means something. So if you're an RNCM graduate, that's a kind of brand of quality, I guess, going forward in your career. The other response that floats to the top is the opportunity to collaborate across musical genres. We really benefit from the fact that we coexist alongside a top-class classical music program, and students at the RNCM on the pop program collaborate with the classical students all the time, and vice versa, and you'll see some examples of that a little bit later. The image that I'm showing you right now is of the RNCM Session Orchestra, which is a really good example of a major ensemble that brings together students from right across the college to participate in this ensemble. Final thing that sort of floats to the top is Manchester itself. The city is an incredibly rich musical city with a diverse music history and heritage. We've produced some of the finest pop and rock acts on the planet. There's actually in the middle of town a great poster on one of the venues that says Manchester has produced more famous rock musicians per capita than any other city in the world. Let's make some more. Really quite like that, but just to underline the fact that Manchester is a very, very vibrant musical city. And I'm very proud of the fact that RNCM students are the heartbeat of this city now. The popular music program has been going at the RNCM for 13 years. And so we've got 13 years worth of graduates out there in the city, and they are running the show. It's great to see that all the big venues in town are full of RNCM current students and alumni. And we're now part of Manchester's musical story. So we're very, very proud of that. Our program is very, very pragmatic, I think. Our mission is to educate you, to train you, and to develop you to have successful, sustainable careers. This for me is really, really important. You will have noticed in our literature, in our website, in the images that we use to promote the program, we're not pushing this as some course which will make you a famous rock star. If you do become that, we'll be delighted and we'll enjoy that ride with you. But more importantly, for me, it's about giving you the skills that will enable you to have a long and sustainable career as a musician. And the music industry changes rapidly. So it is the job of this program really to give you the skills, give you the tools to adapt and to be flexible and to pursue your goals, whatever shape they may take in the future. So the whole program is geared around that ethos. We're also aiming to develop your musical identity. And this is a journey. It's not something that happens immediately or even whilst you're on the program, but it does give you the advantage to become creative, not just as a performer, but in composition and production. And I'll talk some more about that in a moment. So we have modules that are based around those three areas. I'm calling it the triple threat, which is a phrase I'm kind of nicking from musical theatre. But we want all of our students to be top quality performers, composers and producers. Also, we want you to become original artists in your own right, if that is your passion, if that is the direction you want to travel. Underpinning all of the training around your instrument or voice, we have modules which develop your academic and creative skills. We're very, very aware that being a good musician only takes you so far. What you also have to have is you have to have a good entrepreneurial head on your shoulders, and you need to be professional in your outlook. So we have other modules which develop the business acumen side of things and the employment and employability. Importantly, we view all of our musicians as professionals from the very start of the program. I think this is really important. The program is designed to develop you as a working industry professional, and we expect you to be doing that alongside your studies. And we will open doors to make that possible for you. I'll speak some more later on about our networks that help with that. But it's very, very important that the degree is designed so that you increasingly start to pick up more and more professional work, so that the time you come to graduate, it's a seamless transition into your career. We have a professional engagement module in our year 4, which helps to shape that further, which we'll look at a little further down the line. Just want to bring up a quote from one of our industry friends. Jules Holland has been a friend of this program, a supporter of this program since the very beginning. And he had these very kind words to say about the work that we are doing. We have a range of people like Jules who support us and who come to visit us, and we'll look at some of those a little later as well. Okay, I think it's time for some music. And the first band that we're going to feature is Ives. And these guys are 5-year one students. They've just completed their first year. They met on the program. They're actually in the Zoom room with us as we speak. I can see them smiling at me. So we're going to listen to a track that they've kindly released and let us use for this open day. And then we're going to have a chat with some of the guys in the band. So enjoy this. This is Ives.
It's dark and now you're cold in my arms. I will lay you down beside me. No one will tear you apart. We're falling out. The love we were in, but I hope that you are doing better than me. I'm in the same old flat, and you have moved across the border. America was waiting for you, so I thought I shouldn't go. Is your life on track? And have you stopped smoking? 'Cause I hope that you are doing better than me. Said I miss the times when you were in my bed. I will never love another girl. No, you're the only one for me. And do you think about me, baby? I know you're with a different boy, but I can't let you go. Hope you're better than me.
All right, great. Thank you to Ives. Click your reaction button if you like that. All the Ives boys are putting a thumbs up now. All right, great. Okay, I'm just going to have a look in the chat, see if there's anything in there that we need to look at. All right, getting some nice reactions there. Thank you. All right, I'm just going to admit a few latecomers, and then we'll join our Ives guys. All right, so we got Alejandro, who was playing bass, Mark, who was on drums, Jack, who was playing guitar, Lewis, who was on keys, and Jesper, who was the vocalist. Guys, you can unmute your mics. Let's have a quick chat. All right, nice to see you, boys. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You?
Yeah.
Good.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you very much. All right, Lewis, I'm coming to you first. Talk us through about how your band came together.
Um, Sort of happened pretty organically, to be honest. We all met on literally the first day um, of I think it was freshers when we were just all in a room together with all like the first years, and yeah, we just all started talking to each other, and I think me and Jack were living together in halls, and we just started playing music together from the first day. Um, and then it sort of came to like the first proper gig that we had to do as first years in Dimitri's, which is like a restaurant on Deansgate, if anyone doesn't know it, in Manchester. And we just sort of assembled this band together just from making friends with each other, played a few covers and stuff. And after that, we were just writing loads and loads and loads. We've got a big bank of sounds now.
Yeah, very nice. It's a great story. Jesper, are you at home? Are you out there in Sweden?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
back in Sweden.
How is everyone?
Good. It's weird speaking English again. So yeah,
Talk
it's
us
good.
talk us through the creative process. How does the band function in terms of songwriting?
Usually it's either me, Jack, or Louise who just comes up with like the original idea. So for this one, I wrote it as a ballad at first. Then I gave it to Louise and we worked on it, and it sort of became like almost like an EDM song. And then together with the rest of the band, we just changed it so that everyone got to play on it and just put their own ideas in. So that's how we usually work. Like we have like the ground idea, and then everyone just puts their own spin on it. And yeah.
All right, yeah, nice, thank you. Mark, how does the production side of things work with you guys? Because this is pretty production heavy, and impressively so as well, I have to say. So how does that work?
Oh, cheers. Well, basically, we record it all ourselves and stuff. So for this song, me and Jack went into one of the rooms in RNCM and hired out the gear to record it and stuff. We did all that ourselves, and then usually once we have it all recorded, it's Jack that does it. He does like the main production, the mixing and stuff, and then we usually send it over to Jasper's dad once it's done, and then he kind of gives it a final master. But yeah, it's mainly all done ourselves, to be fair. But yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well done. So Jack, you're the production brains.
Yeah.
What are you using to do that?
So for this song, we use Logic, and for sort of the first half of this year, I was using Logic, and then we've started using Pro Tools recently. Just I don't know. We prefer to write in Logic because I think it's easier just to be creative in that. But when it comes to the final thing, we're now in Pro Tools.
All right, great. Thank you for that. I'm just going to finish off by having a word with Alejandro. Alejandro is originally from Mexico. You've not gone home, right? You're still in Manchester, as I understand it.
Yeah, I'm still in Manchester.
Yeah. Okay. So just speaking a little broadly, more broadly now. Obviously, the band is going really well. You're doing some great writing and production work. You've done some gigs. What's been your highlight so far of your first year of being a student at the RNCM, having travelled so far to be with us from Mexico?
Oh well, it's been great, really. I've met a lot of musicians, both from the popular music world and classical world. Um, Besides forming a group in the popular music course, I've also gotten the chance to interact and form other world music fusion groups with classical students as well. And overall, I think it's very enriching to meet other students that are musicians. Everybody here is so talented, and it really opens up your world to another perspective.
Great, thanks for that. Boys, thanks very much for making some time to be with us today and for sharing your music. If you want to hang around and see the rest of this, you're more than welcome. But I appreciate your time, and stay safe and well, all right? And I
Yeah,
hope
thanks for asking us.
Cheers, Andy.
I'll see you in
Thank you.
September.
Nice one. Cheers.
Okay, so we're going to go back into the next part now. So let's bring up this. So thank you very much to Ives. Okay, so moving forward, I want to first of all make the point that I'm addressing the next part of what I'm going to say to students who are considering coming onto our undergraduate program. I know there are some people in the room who have signed up for the postgraduate program, and you've got a session this afternoon with Professor David Horn to talk specifically about the masters. But what I'm about to do now is talk about the bachelor's degree. Every 5 years, the RNCM's degrees go through what we call revalidation. So this is an opportunity to make sure that all of the content of the program is current and is responsive to what's happening in the industry. I like to think also that what we're going to design has the potential to be at the cutting edge of the future of the industry and not just a complete reaction to what's going on within it. So what I'm going to talk about now is what I perceive to be the future and what we're working towards and how you might fit into that. So all of what I'm about to say is subject to that validation process. We're currently writing. We will be validating the degree in the new year, and then it will be ready to roll from September 2021, which I'm guessing for the majority of people who are in the room today is the program that you will be starting should you be successful in your application and audition. So this is what year one is going to look like. I'm just going to come back to something I said a little earlier and pick up on something that the band Ives have just given you in terms of their experiences. You will have heard them talking about these three things: performance, composition, and production. And this for me is where the future lies. It's already happening. The professional musician is by and large these three things. To different levels. I mean, not everybody is equal across all three disciplines, but they have this kind of skill set, and this is what we want to promote through the new program. It's actually been inspired by the fact that it's happening organically within our program anyway. I think you've just seen a great example of it. And it's also influenced by the fact that the majority of students that I'm interviewing and auditioning are already doing a combination of these three things. Now, traditionally, conservatoires were mainly focused on performance, but I think for the popular musician, it needs to be much broader than that. So this is the direction of travel. So you can see in the performance and composition modules, we're going to be looking at a variety of things, looking at the development for you as a soloist through your technical development, your interpretive development, looking at you in a band ensemble situation, developing your skills as a songwriter and in understanding how to score and analyze, looking at production techniques, and then underpinning all of this, which is really important to have this literacy and this professional development angle, you'll have musicianship modules, and you'll also have what we call professional development modules. So these are about these sort of industry and employment skills that we talked about a little earlier. So that's the map for the first year. The second year looks similar, but the content changes. So it's the same core modular structure, but with a change in emphasis, I guess, in the content. So the ensemble side of things is getting more involved with you as a musical director as well as a performer. You're getting into more arranging work in your composition modules, and there's more production work and analysis and creative portfolios to do within the production side of things. And then, as you'll see, within the musicianship side, we start to move into harmony and part writing, and then professional development, looking at your portfolio of skills going forward as a professional. I'll just mention at this point, with the band musicianship parts of the program, so I'll just go back a slide. So you've got band musicianship in year one and again in year two, and it will continue into year three as well, you'll see in a moment. We recruit 36 students a year. We have over 300 applicants for those places, so competition is tough. But what it does mean is we're able to recruit the very best musicians from around the world. And out of those 36, we split the disciplines as follows. So we have 6 drummers, 6 bass players, 6 keys players, 6 guitar players, and 12 vocalists. Now, what that does is it gives us perfectly formed bands from day one. And that means that we can push the level of challenge considerably higher than it would be if we didn't have that balance. So just bear that in mind. It's a really important part of our program, the band musicianship, and the fact that you're able to function in bands with everyone who's a first study in that instrument gives us a massive advantage, and that's what makes our ensembles at the RNCM the best around. When you move through into year 3, the modular content shrinks down into 3 main components. So we really focus on your performance side of things, on developing an original artist showcase. That culminates in a number of things. You've got to produce some recorded material. You've also got to put on a 45-minute showcase. We bring industry in to watch our showcases. So that's really a shop window for you to promote your own music. Allied to that, we then have the choice of what we're calling pathways in our artist development modules. And what happens here is you can specialize then as a composer or as a producer, or if you wanted to, you could do both and just split the difference within the module. So what we're doing here is we're giving you the chance now to sort of start to shape your own bespoke program. And that is further enhanced by the fact that you've got a series of electives that you can pick from that go into your portfolio musician module. And I'll show you what some of these might look like on the next couple of slides. So within the portfolio, we have a combination of research electives and practical electives. Now, just a note on this menu does change each year in accordance with the faculty research. So people are generally writing papers or writing their books on these subjects, and then they'll offer them up as electives. So you really are working with experts in their field. And this is just a taster of some of the current research electives that are available. And then the practical electives look like this. Again, this is a kind of rolling program, but core business for the last few years has been centered around these areas for the pop musicians. Okay. When you move into year 4, that 3-module structure remains, and the final thing you do in your performance is work towards your final performance showcase. This is really your kind of finale. This is the big end to your degree, where you're performing hopefully entirely original music, all written, produced by yourselves and put together for an hour-long showcase that happens at the end of your program. Underpinning that will be the further artist development with the composer-producer project, which is going to work in a similar way to the artist development 1, where you can specialize as a composer or as a producer, or you can keep both moving forward. And then allied to all of that, we have what we call our professional engagement. Now, this module is unique in the UK conservatoire sector. In fact, I've not seen a module like this in any of the other international conservatoires that I'll talk about later. But what happened here is we wanted to put together a module which allowed students to pursue their professional careers whilst they were students without having to give up on finishing their degree. Now, this is an Achilles heel of a number of programs, top programs around the world, where students get their big break whilst they're still studying, and then they've got a tough choice to make as to whether they finish their degree or they go off and take that chance and follow that dream. What we've been able to do is to create a module which lets you do both. Right now we have a number of students who've been out on their professional engagement, who've been on UK tours, European tours, world tours, some working with some super high profile acts, and they wouldn't have been able to do that had they not been able to frame it and use it for credit for their degree. So we're very proud of this module, and I'll tell you more about it in a little while. Okay, time for some more music. And next up, we've got Ruth Owens. So Ruth is a 4th-year student. She's about to graduate. She's had an amazing 4 years at the RNCM, which I'm sure, if she's in the room, I think she is, she'll be able to tell you all about. But this is a wonderful track. Oh, there she is. Hi, Ruth. It's a wonderful track that features students from our classical program as well. And it's a really good example of the collaborative work that I was mentioning at the top of this presentation. So enjoy this. This is Ruth Owens.
I could get to you through all the sheets and chatter and confusion. Wish I could find the truth, 'cause all I'm getting now is sweet delusions. Sometimes I just can't speak. Sometimes you make me feel so weak. Wish I could find the sun, 'cause I am getting stuck in this delusion. Wish you could be the one, 'cause I am sick and tired of this confusion. Sometimes I just can't speak. Sometimes you make me feel. I wish that I could make you see that all you ever do is make me happy. Sometimes I just can't speak. Sometimes you make me feel. I wish that I could make you see that all you ever do is make me happy. And I just can't control this no more. When you walk out the door, when will I see you again? Do I call you my friend? Wish I could get to you. Oh, wish I could get to you. Sometimes I just can't speak. Sometimes you make me feel. I wish that I could make you see that all you ever do is make me happy.
Yay, thank you, Ruth. Let's show your appreciation for Ruth Owens, everybody. Hi, how you doing?
Hello, I'm okay. How are
Good.
you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you very much. This is kind of a surreal experience doing an open day like this, but nevertheless, the music is still most enjoyable. So Ruth, you're in your fourth year now. You're about to complete your studies, about to graduate.
Yeah.
You've had a very eventful 4 years. So maybe you can share some of your highlights with us.
Ooh, okay. So I came onto the course when it looked very different to what you guys have just seen. And I came on as thinking I was a songwriter and I wasn't really a performer. I just wanted to write. Through that, I've then kind of been molded into this session musician slash performer slash songwriter slash doing everything else, which has seen me. I got a really cool opportunity in second year to go to Nashville with Andy, to go to a pop music educators conference, which was just crazy. I've performed in countless session orchestras. I don't know if you've talked about session orchestra yet.
Not yet.
Okay, but that's a really amazing ensemble that Andy coordinates, that kind of molds the classical and the pop course together. I have made my band. You guys didn't actually see my band there, but I perform with 4 guys that are on my course, and we've written and released quite a bit of music together. We're about to put out an EP in the next couple of months, and they've also just become my best friends, so that's been nice. And I'm this fourth year was signed to Northern Quarter Records, which is one of the placement options. Andy talked a bit about professional engagement and how that sets our course apart. And what's really, really cool is we have our own in-house label. So this year I was signed to the label, and I recorded an EP with the label, which is what I'm about to put out. I feel like that was a bit blabby. I'm sorry, Andy. I did a lot. I didn't really know how to streamline it.
You did. You said it perfectly. What words of advice would you have for people who are in the room today, Ruth? I mean, you were sat in this position, I guess 5 years ago now, thinking about making your choices. So having been through the whole process, have you got any words of wisdom to share?
In terms of audition, I guess first, just be yourself. I know that's like the cheesiest thing you could say. I think I had a bit of a tough decision starting college. There were a couple of other unis that I had choices of, and I think the day that we have an offer holders event normally in January, if you get your place, and when I came to my offer holders event, I think I was the only person in our year that hadn't accepted my place. And that was partly because my parents hadn't seen the RNCM, but they had come to see the other universities. So they were really sold on the other unis. But I think I just went with my gut and realized that RNCM is kind of a place to completely encompass all types of music that you want to learn and that you want to play within. I've had such a great experience because I come from quite a classical background originally. So getting to collaborate with all the classical musicians, as you saw in that video, that was my own song, but I also arranged it for the string players. So I've had teaching and arranging and composition and experience with doing that with the session orchestra as well. So yeah, just kind of approach the RNCM as not a place that needs to mold you into a specific genre or a specific style, but somewhere that can enhance the things that you already have. Because I think I've come out of the end of it still very being true to myself, still doing the folky songwritery things, but I've got a breadth of just crazy skills that I didn't think I would have. And then at the same time, I've got friends that are full on pop divas, like getting on all the pop New Music Friday playlists on Spotify and stuff, and we've had exactly the same teaching. We've just taken it as we are and explored it the way we wanted to.
Great, thank you very much, Ruth. That was really nice of you, and truthful, and I like that. We just a heads up, with the students who are involved in today's session have had no briefing whatsoever. It's just a case of come on and tell it as it is. I don't think we need to sugarcoat anything, actually. We're very, very proud of our students' work, and as Ruth said, we develop an environment where they can be themselves, where they can grow as creative artists, and we are very proud of the breadth of music that we have on the programme. And it's one of the problems for me, I guess, in what to call the programme. So it's called popular music, but I mean, it doesn't really do justice to the breadth of styles that exist within the program. It's actually as useless a term as the word classical in trying to describe 400 years of music history. So popular is the best that we've got at the moment, but it does incorporate jazz, folk, rock, EDM, all sorts of music. I mean, the sky is the limit, and we do not put any restrictions on that. In fact, we do the opposite. We encourage students to be themselves. Ruth, thanks ever so much for taking some time to be with us. It's good to see you. Stay safe, and see you soon.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on. I can see a number of questions that are coming in the chat. I think what I'm going to do is I'll address these one by one when we get towards the end, because I'm sure there will be the similar questions that other people will want the answers to. So if you've got any more that you want to add into the chat, please do, and I'll tackle those when we get towards the end. All right, where are we going? Share my screen again. Let me try that again. That was going ever so well on a technical front. There we go. All right, so that was Ruth Owens. Okay, so we're talking about the professional engagement module in year 4, and what I want to do next is take you through the partners that we work with, and to give you a bit of an idea of the kind of things that you could be doing. So we split this down into different categories. Within our music industry category, you can see we have a range of partners here on this first slide. There's another one to follow, and here's the kind of things that you can be doing. So these are more industry focused and arts management focused and media focused. Some great success stories coming through these with students being offered roles within these organisations at the end of their engagements, just because they've been so good at what they've been doing with our partners. Other industry opportunities that we have are as follows. So Liverpool Sound City through to So Far Sounds, a range of things that you could be getting involved in there. I think one of the things I'm really happy with this setup is predicated on what I call a win-win-win situation. So our partners win because they get to recruit amazingly talented professional young people who add value to their organisations. The students win because they have opportunities which not only develop them in their professional skill set, but also potentially lead to full-time jobs. And the institution wins because our reputation is enhanced by the fact that our students go in and do such a great job, and then our partners go and tell everyone else about how good the RNCM is. So it's a really great win-win-win situation for everybody. If you're interested in music education, we have a range of partners locally, Greater Manchester Music Hub and Front Row Music, which is a local company, but also internationally. So we've had a couple of students this year out in Columbus, Ohio, in the US, working at ACPA. And we've got students this year who are going to be out in the Southeast Asia, working in China and Singapore. We had a student last year out in Seoul in South Korea, working at Dulwich International College. Again, great relationships that we have with these organisations and top quality professional experience for the students. If you want to pursue your route as a performing musician, we have options then within that area as well. Again, some of these are international. We have our record label, which I'll tell you some more about in a minute. And really exciting opportunities to, get out and spread your wings and develop your network, not just locally or nationally, but internationally. Very important. Sorry, just go back one. If none of these options are what you see yourself doing, there is another option within the professional musician portfolio, which is around you being a freelancer, and you basically put your own proposal together. I then need to sign that off to make sure that it's robust enough for this level in your degree, and then you can go off and do your thing. I mentioned a little earlier some of the musicians who were working, touring Europe and the UK, they were putting together their own proposals based on their own professional work. So that is an option as well. We have a range of people who we work with, both in terms of venues, in terms of manufacturers, in terms of other institutions. We are well regarded around the world for the quality of our work. People want to work with us, and we have a range of people coming from these organisations to work with our students. We've also developed a new partnership with the Metropole Orchestra. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of these musicians, but you should check them out. It's the Netherlands' most important musical ensemble. They are the world's leading pop and jazz orchestra, and they were the inspiration for the RNCM session orchestra, which I'll show you a video of in a little while. We've managed to get a relationship with them now, where we've got an exchange program running. It's been slightly interrupted with recent events, but we hope that next year this will be up and running fully. And what the scheme does, it recruits 6 students from Dutch conservatoires to spend a year in the orchestra. And those students exchange into our session orchestra for the 3 projects that we run each year. And in exchange, our NCM students get to go to the Metropole and work on some of their projects. This is absolute gold dust. And I was very, very flattered when the Metropole Orchestra approached me to set this up, because, as I say, they were my inspiration for setting up the RNCM session orchestra, and now they come knocking on our door to say, would you like to run this exchange program? So very firmly the answer was yes, please. So we're very much looking forward to this one getting up and running. Here's a couple more quotes for you from some of the guests that we've had in over the last couple of years. I quite like these. I'll just give you a moment to have a read. Now, it's really important for us to expose our students to industry professionals, to work with them, to get advice from them, to get to know them. And what's really great about this is that it does lead to professional opportunities. I can think of one most recently, actually. We're going to listen to a band later on called Porridge, who met one of our guests, Corey Wong, in a recent masterclass, and then ended up opening for him on his UK tour when he played Manchester. So that was very exciting for them. So we have guests in all the time, and as you can see, they really rate our students, which is very, very important. All right, time for some more music, and I can see Joe is in the room. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you. This is the Joe Keegan Band, and we're going to play a music video for them, which had an exciting turn of events, which we'll talk a little bit more to Joe about after we've listened to some music. So enjoy this. This is Joe Keegan.
I'm chasing that firelight. What if the fire burns out? Whoa, whoa. Girl, I need you now, 'cause we're running out of daylight. It's going dark in this town. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't you let me down. We all need someone to hold in the middle of the night, but you wake up in the morning and it doesn't seem right. How can I say you're not the one that's on my mind? It's no lie, you know. They say that love grows old. You'll find the one I hold who brings you love again. Who brings you love again. Chasing that firelight. What if the fire burns out? Chasing that firelight. What if the fire burns out? We all need someone to hold in the middle of the night, but you wake up in the morning and it doesn't seem right. How can I say you're not the one that's on my mind?
Yeah, Joe Keegan, everybody. You can have a little reaction to that if you liked it. Show Joe your appreciation. Nice work, young man. How are you?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yes, nice to see you. And to hear that tune again. I remember the day that we were in that studio
Would you believe it? Yeah,
recording that
I
song.
still can't.
All right, so let's just get straight to it. Let's not tease anyone anymore. So Joe was signed to Northern Quarter Records for his professional engagement year, and as part of a new relationship, which I'll tell you more about in a second, Joe got to record that track. You tell him, Joe.
Abbey Road Studios. Yeah, it was a pretty cool day out.
Yeah, and it was in Studio 2, wasn't it? The studio where the Beatles had recorded most of their music,
Yeah.
which was it was an amazing experience, wasn't it? Amazing environment and atmosphere is the word I'm looking for in there.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I did,
completely real. I can remember specifically on that day being in the vocal booth, finishing my takes and coming out and seeing a picture of Freddie Mercury doing exactly the same thing I've just been doing. Yeah, I think that sums it up nicely. It was completely surreal, sort of imposter syndrome kind of moment, you know. How has this happened so soon? And the only reason is because of the RNCM. You know, that opportunity would have come a lot later, potentially come a lot later in my career. But for the RNCM, it's happened now, which is, you know, what can you say? Fantastic.
yeah, good stuff. So Joe's in his final year, just finishing off now. So how's the last 4 years been for you? You've had some extremely varied experiences whilst you've been with us, and maybe you can talk a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, I mean, in a word, phenomenal. I think you don't quite know what to expect when you're applying for undergraduate courses. I knew that the RNCM was where I wanted to study since the age of 14. As soon as you come into the building, I'm sure many of you, if you've had a chance to go into the RNCM yet, would feel that. The opportunity to work with and be surrounded by musicians of that quality, you know, where else can you get it? It was on the doorstep for me because I'm only from Bolton, so it was fantastic. And as soon as I arrived, my expectations were met and more. I think one thing I wasn't anticipating was how much the course leaders and my lecturers would be involved with the development of my own music. I think one thing that I've really benefited from is tuition in terms of songwriting. You know, I think in third year you get to choose your elective modules, and that songwriting module really sticks out to me because it was called Songwriting Workshop, and it was really just an opportunity to present your own work and be sort of critiqued and develop your songwriting in that respect. And I think now, saying that 4 years later, some of the projects I've been working on recently were for Notting Hill Publishing, writing to briefs. That's you know, I feel like I could only tackle those kind of professional engagements because of the tuition that I've had at the RNCM. You know, so I think I remember saying this to you in my interview, actually, Andy, that the RNCM seemed like the most pragmatic choice to in order to become a professional musician. And now I'm sort of starting to feel the reward of that. Yeah.
That's great to hear. It's interesting you use that word pragmatic. I think that's one of the first things I said this morning about the ethos of our program. We do give you kind of real world experiences and keep you grounded and you know, give you the support you need to develop as professional musicians. And I mean, yours has been a great success story, Joe. It's been wonderful to see the band develop and see you develop as a songwriter and also as a, you know, as a musician and an all-round businessman and entrepreneur. You know, you run your own band and you know the ins and outs and how difficult and challenging that is. But you do it really well, and it's been great to see that development. I think one of the reasons that I wanted to use you guys to take that opportunity at Abbey Road, and this is a kind of rule of thumb, I guess, for me, is really just as a reward, I guess, as a recognition of the hard work that goes in over a long period of time. It wasn't just that Joe's band was necessarily, you know, the only one that could have gone down there and done that gig, but it stood out for me as being, you know, the hardest working band on the program at the time, who were really putting the hours into the project. And I think it's only right and proper then that you get those chances off the back of that, and also the chance that you had to go on the Interplay summer project. So maybe you want to talk about that a little bit, because you had a fine
Yeah.
time out in Amsterdam.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was a fantastic opportunity that we went to play in the it's called the Q Factory.
Yeah.
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 Fantastic venue. As part of the conservatoire there, and but it was more than that. It was more than just a gig in Amsterdam, which was great for the CV. Now we're an international band, you know. But the opportunity to have lectures with some of the tutors there. You know, completely different perspective on popular music. I know that there in Amsterdam, the popular music scene is a lot more electronic, which is again different to the kind of stuff that I write. You've just seen an example of. So there was like a masterclass in DJing and kind of music production, a world that I would never sort of have seek tuition in, but definitely these kind of different experiences influence your music, and you can't, you know, whether you're conscious of it or not. So getting the sort of different perspective of the tutors there was great. And obviously meeting the students. I've done a little bit of collaborative work with some of the students that I met there. I know the quality of students there is, you know, on a par with the RNCM, I would say, in terms of the way that they're, you know, the mindset is so professional. I know that they've ended up on some TV appearances and things, the students that I've been working with there. So, I mean, it's that kind of collaboration. You'll feel that in all areas of the RNCM and your studies here. Collaboration is one of the key words, I suppose, in terms of what it's like to be a student here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, Joe. All right, listen, thanks for sharing your music with us and sharing your thoughts and your insights. Joe's going to be staying on with us and joining our master's program in the next academic year, which I'm absolutely delighted about. So more to see from this young man and his band. Joe, great to see you. Look after yourself. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you soon. All right, let's go back. All right, so that was Joe Keegan, everyone. We talked to Joe and to Ruth about our record label, Northern Quarter Records. So the label's now 5 years old, and it's an independent label. It's independent of the college. It's run by our partners, Scruff of the Neck, who've recently won the AIMS Best Small Label Award. So you're working with true professionals at the heart of the industry. And artists who are signed to our label get to do a range of things. Primarily it's around writing and recording, performing your music and touring, and hopefully taking that into a summer festival season on completion of the 1 year professional engagement. The kind of people you'll be working with range from artist managers through to lawyers, through to videographers and so on. And it's basically about a year for you to understand what it's like to be a signed artist, but still within the kind of comfort zone, if you like, of being within Northern Quarter Records, who will look after you in a way that most labels perhaps wouldn't. So it's a very exciting project. Students are super keen to be involved in it. We're producing some great music, and I'm hopeful that pretty soon someone like Joe or Ruth or the bands that are coming through are going to be big names in the industry. So watch out for that name, Northern Quarter Records. Just to finish off the story about Abbey Road, so Abbey Road has got an institute now, which is the training ground for music producers and sound engineers. It's a very exclusive program, and the people who are on it are very, very high level. And what they wanted to do was to give their trainee producers and sound engineers the opportunity to work with top quality bands and ensembles. And so they approached us to see if we would be interested in collaborating. And what you saw there, that song that you just heard from Joe, we actually went down to the studios and recorded that with one of the senior recording engineers, Hayden Bendall, who's been there for 20 years. He's seen most things, and he was an inspiration to work with. And yeah, they got the chance to record in that studio, which was amazing. We have plans in the pipeline to go down to Abbey Road into the big studio in Studio One and record the session orchestra, which you'll see some more of in a little while. All right, I'm just going to gallop through this bit just to give you a brief heads up on the staff team. There are 26 of us. Most of them are part-time tutors who come in and deliver their specialisms, but the core team consists of myself, Stuart and Rod, along with Katie, Alex Phil, Mark, Suki, and our administrator, Haley. So that's the kind of core team. And then we also then have our specialists. So these are the tutors who come in to deliver primarily instrumental or vocal tuition. And if you check out some of the names of these people and have a look at what they do professionally, you'll see that these are people who are in the industry working at high level. A lot of them are session musicians or songwriters or producers. And they've got their own careers alongside their teaching work. And that for me is really important, that we are in touch with what's happening right now in the industry, and that these guys can bring their experiences into their teaching. And can open professional doors for our students to walk through and gain their own paid work. So it's a really great team. We've been together now for a long time. Very, very proud of the work that they do and the achievements that we have with them and our students. In addition to the teaching staff, we also have visiting tutors. Every Friday afternoon, we run a masterclass series where we invite artists from around the world to come and work with our students. You've seen some quotes from some of these artists as we've been going through the presentation, but I just wanted to share with you some of the people who've been in over the last few years. We actually had a really great masterclass just a few months ago with JP Cooper. Again, if you've not heard his music, you should check him out. But you should check all these out. They're incredible people. So you'll see down from the right hand side of the slide the kind of variations in the specialisms. We've got a nice relationship with the Jamiroquai rhythm section guys. That's been really wonderful to work with them. A very, very exciting one last year with Barry Manilow. So we've got everything from people like him who's been, he's a legend of the music industry, through to new artists like Anomaly, who you saw on the previous slide. But you can see from their credits the kind of people who they've worked with in the industry, and for these people to come in and talk to our students about that is priceless. And it's wonderful to know that you're in the room with somebody who played keyboards in Michael Jackson's band. I mean, that's incredible experience for students to meet these people and to play and perform for them. Which on that note is really important for me. So in all of our masterclasses, we make opportunities for students to get up on stage and work with our guests and to perform for them. And again, the idea behind that is not only for them to get some critique on their work, but also for our guests then to go out into the wider world and tell everybody about how great the RNCM students are. So I mentioned before Corey, who came in before, the guitarist for Wolfpack. He booked Porridge, you'll hear soon, for his opening act in Manchester, which is very cool. Okay, I guess our cherry on the cake with that is our international chair in popular music. So we're very, very fortunate to have these guys as our resident international artists. So whenever they're in the UK, they come and hang out with us and spend the day, usually before they do their Manchester gig. And this is a relationship we've had now with Snarky Puppy for the last 7 years. Wonderful bunch of people, incredible musicians. And what I really like about these guys is they were in your shoes, 10 years ago. They were wanting to come to music college, and they did. They went to a music school. Most of them went to one in Texas, and then they met there and formed this amazing band, and now they're Grammy Award winners multiple times over. So to have that caliber of musician involved with our program for me is very, very important. You've heard me touch on this a couple of times, and Joe mentioned it when he spoke about his experiences in Amsterdam. About 5 years ago, I formed a network of like-minded conservatoire pop program educators. There aren't many popular music programs in conservatoires around the world. In fact, the ones that you see there are sort of 5 out of the 7 programs that exist. And what we've done is we've joined forces in an organisation which we call Interplay. So I'll just give you a moment just to have a read what Interplay is about. But our idea behind this really is to have some ethical advocacy, I think, an opportunity as a group of people, not just staff, but also students, to push forward the idea of good practice in popular music education. I think we've got a way to go still. with the perception of the value and importance of popular music education. But I genuinely believe that the quality of students and teachers within these institutions is making a big difference, which is why we're calling it Shaping the Future of Music. So if you're excited about being part of that journey, then obviously the RNCM is the place that you should be. Okay, time for some more music. This is a really exciting young band who currently completed their third year, about to move into the final year of their degree. This is a band called Porridge, and they very kindly put this together in isolation for us. So sit back and enjoy this one. Here's Porridge.
Your fingers caressing mine, and the tension starts to rise. Dance with fire, your bad influence means we'll both be getting hurt. Crave your touch, putting fingers in my thoughts with your deadly hinting eyes. Fuck with my mind, I'm not innocent, complicit in this game. I'd hope that you'd be mine for a limited time. Get right close in your soul and lose control. 'Cause I like that. She walks around, but I don't mind. I like that. She fucks around, but I don't mind. I like that. I like that. I like that. You be
shine. You're not mine. You're intoxicating stare. I know you're wishing I was there.
All right, there's a bit of porridge, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. I see some rounds of applause going on for them. Have I got? I think we've got Amber in the room. Keys player. Hey.
Hello.
Amber. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Enjoying that. That was amazing.
That
Thanks
was
for
so
putting that
funny. It
together.
went out of sync for me. So like all of the like video was before. It's pretty funny.
Oh wow. Anyway, thanks for sharing that with us. Really appreciate it.
Oh no worries.
Okay, so Amber's just finished third year, about to move into final year of her studies. Principal study keys player, but obviously an important songwriter and band member with Porridge, but has also got lots of other stuff that she's been doing during her studentship at the RNCM. So why don't you take us through what you consider to be your highlights, Amber, whilst you've been a student with us?
Crikey, that's a big. Obviously, Porridge is my number one. It's what I want to be doing. But apart from Porridge, I do a lot of session playing as well for different artists. So I'm involved in this thing called Garage Classical, which was set up by Katie Chatburn, who will be one of your lecturers. And it's essentially you get to play a lot of garage music as an orchestra, but with the original artists. So we've got to play at, sold out Royal Albert Hall, Hammersmith Apollo, Barbican, with like Craig David, the Streets, like it's pretty big. So that's been really cool. And I was the keys player in that, which is pretty fun. I also play for another artist called Naya. She's American, but she's just come over, and that's pretty exciting because she writes with Kareem Bailey Ray. And yeah, I think that's the main exciting things. And then obviously with Porridge, we've got to do loads of cool stuff, which is really exciting.
Nice. Okay. Have you had any words of advice for people who were in this session today about being a student at the college? What would they be?
Make the most of meeting people. Like the most valuable thing I've got from college is just being in a space with like-minded people, and you will make so many connections that will just, be with you for life. I think don't be afraid to go beyond college as well. Don't be afraid to go out and meet people just in the music scene in general. I think don't be afraid of that. And also make use of those practice rooms. You're not going to get free rooms forever.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, Amber. Thanks for sharing your music with us. Send my best wishes to the rest of the guys in the band and say thanks. And look after yourself, and I'll see you soon.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks, Amber. Bye. Okay. We're almost there. And I can see in the chat we've got some questions, so I will address those shortly. But just sort of finishing off now. So as Amber mentioned, as RNCM students, you benefit from some amazing facilities at the college, including some top-class professional performance spaces, recording studios, library practice rooms, and be part of our live music concert program. It really is a special place, and I think the fact that we exist under one roof with popular and classical students all mixed together, we've kind of achieved that goal of mine, I guess, where I didn't really want to see students describe themselves as one thing or another, but just describe themselves as musicians. And I think we're definitely there. And it's really great to see that it doesn't matter whether you're a classical violinist or whether you're a rock guitar player, you're a musician at the RNCM, and you're there because you deserve to be, because you're good, and that you got the chance then just to work together as musicians. We have an amazing studio that we do a lot of our teaching in and recording work in. It is actually the world's largest boxy studio. The spec in here is top drawer. It's the premier studio within Manchester, and it's a fantastic space for our students to work in. We also use external studios. Our main one is Lever Street Studios, where a couple of our staff, Matt Steele and Jasper Wilkinson, are based, and this is a commercial studio. again, top-class professional facility, and our students get the opportunity to work there and to work with those producers and musicians who frequent that studio space. We have a nice relationship with the School of Sound Recording, which is just around the corner from the RNCM. This is the UK's leading music technology and sound recording university, and we work alongside their students to create live performance projects and studio recording projects. The nice thing with this is their students need musicians to record for their degree portfolios, and our students want to get in this amazing space and record for free. So that's a really nice win-win situation we have with SSR. In terms of performance opportunities, they really are limitless. They are what you make them. You heard Alejandro a little earlier talking about what he's been up to whilst he's been at college in his first year. So he started a flamenco project with a blend of classical and pop students, which is really exciting. But then we also have things that we provide for you. So not only the chance to work with each other, but we have regular gig nights with our Northern Sessions events. We have the session orchestra, we have the big band, we have a review, which is a kind of cabaret style show that happens twice a year. We have our own choir, we work with SSR, as I just mentioned, and then with the partners that we talked about a little earlier. But I think it's an environment where you can come and make your own performance opportunities, as well as dipping into the ones that we provide. We work up and down the UK. Here are some of the places in Manchester. The Manchester music scene, as I mentioned right at the beginning, is vibrant. There's some amazing venues for you to play in. RNCM students are in these venues virtually every night of the week performing. But we also perform further afield. We performed at some big arenas in Liverpool and in London. My favourite, I guess, was the Royal Albert Hall. That was some experience. But yeah, we get out and about and play not just nationally but internationally. Northern Sessions are our live gigs, which are run by the label, and they give students in all year groups the chance to perform live. What normally happens with these is we'll have a Northern Quarter Records signed act as the headline, and then students from the lower years as support acts. So it's a chance for you to kind of cut your teeth and come through on that circuit. You get help, professional help with the label on making all that happen. This again, to return to our session orchestra, we've performed at the Royal Albert Hall, the Bridgewater Hall and Liverpool Echo Arena. We have international partnerships, as I mentioned, with the Metropole and with Code Arts University in Rotterdam. And we've done some amazing gigs. Very, very proud of this ensemble. It's very popular. I know some of you are in the room today have seen us in action, so thank you for your support. You may have seen us perform with some of these guest artists. Most recently, we did a gig on February 29th, actually, with Mo Pleasure, former MD of Earth, Wind and Fire and Michael Jackson band member. So to have him perform with the orchestra was terrific. But actually the real stars of the show are the students. They are top class, and being able to perform in this ensemble is a real experience for everybody concerned, including myself. I never ever get tired of doing this. It's a real joy. Okay, another couple of quotes from some of our visitors. So I'll just give you a moment to have a read of these. And now I'll show you a little show reel of the session orchestra. So I hope you enjoy this.
This is just prove yourself and glide like a 747. Then lose yourself in the sky, among the clouds in the heavens. 'Cause darling, keep the light on, keep the light on, keep the light on, keep the light on, keep the light on.
Okay, so there was our session orchestra. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm just going to talk you through the applications process, and then I'll address the questions that you've been sending in. Here's just some general information which you can find on our website, but just to kind of underline the fact that we do have an early deadline of the 1st of October. So please, if you're interested in applying, do not miss that deadline, because what happens after that is you'll be invited to the audition and interview. And if you're not in on that deadline, then you'll miss that first trench. So please, please, please make sure you're on time with your application. In terms of qualification levels, we don't insist that you have a grade 8, but you should be around that standard on your instrument. So my advice, if you're not sure, is to maybe buy one of those grade 8 books and see whether or not you can play the pieces in there. The reason that we don't insist on the certificate is because they're all very, very different. I've got somebody with a mic on who's coming through, so maybe you can just check whether you're muted. Yeah, so they're all very different, so it doesn't really give us a standard to measure against. So if you're in any doubt, then just maybe check out a couple of pieces from those books and just make sure that you can play those. In terms of your academic background, we need you to have a couple of A-levels or a level 3 diploma or a BTEC, or if you're on the International Baccalaureate, 24 points. You need to have passed your maths and English, and you need to have the equivalent of grade 5 music theory. I get a lot of questions about this one. If you can get to do your theory test, grade 5 ABRSM, then please do that ASAP. If you've not got it when you come for audition and interview, then it will be made, should we make you an offer, it will be made a condition of that offer. So it means you've got between November when the auditions are and September the following year when you start to get the theory exam done as part of the condition along with your level 3 qualifications. There are some equivalents out there which I deal with on a case-by-case basis, but just having A-level music is not enough. You need to actually sit a theory test independently of that. Having said all that, if we really like you, we can find a way of making sure that you can get through and onto the program. So what do you have to do? You have to do an online theory exam. That's 45 minutes. That's set by us. That's just another measure to make sure that you are musically literate. We want this in place because, as you've seen from the program content, you do need to have this level of musical language and understanding in order to complete the program. It would be very unfair of me to let somebody onto this program if they didn't speak music. So please, if theory is your weak point at the moment, please make sure you work hard on that to get that up to the appropriate standard. If you're going to study a music degree, you need to be musically literate. You will then produce 2 video performances. One will be a choice of your own making, and one will be from our set pieces, which you can find on the website. One of the reasons that I wanted to put in the set pieces was to do 2 things. One was to act as a filter. So I'm basically saying if you can play these pieces that we've set, then you should definitely think about applying. And if you can't play these pieces yet, then it's perhaps not time for you to consider your application. So they're a kind of marker, if you like, a line in the sand as to what the standard is at. And then with your own choice, my advice with this is to pick a piece that, you know, shows off your playing or singing, but it's also coming from a place that inspires you. So choose an artist who you're really into, who you can study the rest of their music, not just one piece. And we do say, please don't play any exam pieces. And the reason for that is maybe you didn't choose them. We want to hear your own choice piece as being something that is a piece of music you really care about. You can perform your own original music if you wish, but just make sure that it demonstrates enough in terms of technical skills to make sure that you kind of get through that filter. We also set a series of interview questions which you will be sent, and we'll ask you to address those one by one in a video interview. So what are we looking for? Well, a high level of technical skill, a stylistic understanding, and as I said, if you choose a piece to play as your own choice, then make sure you study that album, make sure you study people who've influenced that artist or who that artist has in turn influenced, so that you've got a depth and a breadth to the research behind your performance. I can tell within the first 8 bars whether students understand what they're performing. So please make sure you do some thorough research on that one. And then you need to perform it with energy and presence. That's not always easy on video, but you need to really go for it and perform it like you mean it. And then the confidence hopefully will come across in that video performance. In terms of the musicianship side of things, when you've gone through the first part of this, we will contact you and we'll do some musicianship tests where we'll be looking at things like scales and technical exercises and rudiments. So just be ready to show us your chops basically and what you've got in terms of your technique. And then again, just make sure you're well organized, make sure your equipment's in good working order, that your backing tracks are good quality, and that you actually give us the best version of yourself in the recording. In the theory exam, sort of standard fare really. These are things that we're looking for. So making sure you've got a good understanding of all of these to around about a grade 5 level. You can buy grade 5 theory workbooks, so I advise that you do that, and make sure you understand all of these different component parts so that when you do your online test with us, you know what you're doing. When we come to the interview part, then these are the things that we're looking for: clear understanding of why you want to do this program, some evidence of songwriting and production work. This is not a deal breaker at this point, but if you've not done anything in these areas yet, I strongly advise you to start doing this. As you've seen from the blueprint for the new program, we are going to be expecting people to write songs and to do production work. So try and get your head around programs like Logic, for example, or Pro Tools, or if you can't afford those, there's other freeware that you can start working on in a DAW. GarageBand's a good one as an entry-level DAW. And start writing some songs if you've not already done that. If you have, then please make sure you tell us about that and include it in your application. We're also looking for you to have the ability to critique yourself in terms of your strengths and your weaknesses. So don't be shy on this. You know, tell us what you're good at and tell us where you think you need to develop. We'll generally hear those things in your video performances, so we like the truth. Make sure you've done some research in the industry and you've kind of got a broad understanding of where you might fit in to that industry and your employment potential. And please be confident and articulate and give us intelligent, considered responses. Okay, almost there. I wanted to tell you about the RNCM Summer School. I know through reading down the list of names of people who've signed up for this presentation today that some of you have seen this already, but I just want to put this out there. We do have some places available. This year we're going to offer this for free. Normally it's a residential course where we get together for 3 days, but this year is obviously different. But it gives you a chance to meet and work with us and with each other. And included in the package, there's going to be an individual advice audition, a band recording project similar to some of the things that you've seen on the videos today, and performance classes with our instrumental and vocal tutors. It's going to run across 5 days between the 17th and the 27th of July. We've spread it out across that 10-day period to give you time to do the recording project. So there's 5 days of activity across 10 calendar days. We only have 30 places, and these are allocated on a first come, first served. So if you're interested in this, then please register online from the end of this presentation. You can find the details of how to fill in that form on our website. So please, if you want to do it, then don't hang about. It's an incredibly popular thing, and it's very, very successful. Students who've been on this in the past generally come to audition, and a lot of them are very successful in the audition. So it's a nice insight into how things work at the college. All right, just want to finish off with some stats. These are our results from last year, and I'm incredibly proud of the work our final year students did in particular. You can see that over 2/3 of them received a first class degree, and they deserved it. Their performances were absolutely exceptional, and their work on their professional engagements likewise. There's a nice trajectory developing through the program from years 1 and 2 into developing through into years 3 and 4. So this is what a good degree should look like. We were talking about Abbey Road a lot today, and the studios the students have worked in. Sir George Martin was the Beatles producer, and he had this to say before he sadly left us a couple of years ago. Okay, I'm going to play one more piece of music, but before I do that, I just want to take the questions that are on our chat. So I'm just going to run through these, and hopefully they'll answer some questions from other people as well. So Tim asked, is having grade 5 music theory compulsory for this course, or is it an option instead to demonstrate capability in audition? Tim, it is a compulsory requirement. You do need to get the exam under your belt. This year we've had to put alternative arrangements in place because of the COVID pandemic and ABRSM not being able to offer their exams at the regular slots. But you will need that exam. And as I mentioned, not necessarily right now or before your audition, but definitely before you start. And you do a theory exam as part of the audition process. So yes, no way around having a formal grade 5. You need to do the exam. All right, Frankie asks, do you accept the Swiss Conservatoire Music Theory exam? Yes, Frankie, we do. Jesse asks, is this course restricted to certain instruments? If I have my grades on sax, and I can do the course with my guitar. We have a lot of multi-instrumentalists, Jesse. The video I'm going to show you next, the sax player on this video is actually a first study singer on our program. If you're going to come and study on the pop program, then we only take in drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, and vocals. But students do get the chance to play other instruments if they wish, and we actively encourage that. Nicola asks, do you need experience with songwriting and composition? Because I don't have much, as I've only ever done BTEC music and GCSE and A-level. Nicola, I'm aware that in all those qualifications in GCSE, A-level and BTEC, that the songwriting component is limited. Ideally, you do have some experience with it. As I said, it's not a deal breaker. If we think you're an exceptional performer and you've got potential in these areas, then we will still obviously consider that. Entrance onto the program is through that performance audition. But having said that, if I've got a split decision to make between 2 students and one has got lots of songwriting experience and one hasn't, then obviously that's going to be an advantage to the one who's got the experience, because you're going to be hitting the ground running when you start the program. So my advice would be, if you've not done any of this yet, then over the summer, begin, have a go, and experiment, improvise, and see what happens. It's really important, I think, that you kind of that rounded individual who can come onto the program. I think that answers Hetty's question as well. She asks, is songwriting taken into account in the audition? If it is your strongest skill, yes, it is. We will be, delighted to hear you perform your own music and to talk about that. Amber asks, if I play the drums and would like to study drums on the course, then I play drums and would like to study drums on the course. I don't know, there's a question there. Jack asks, are there any places still available for this coming year? Sorry, Jake asks that. Jake, we're full for this coming academic year on all disciplines apart from keyboards. So if you're a keys player, then please drop me a line and we'll take it from there. Okay, Grace asks, if you play more than just the classic pop instruments, can you still get on the course, saxophone or drums, or would you have to play your pop instrument? I think I answered that. Oh, Amber's question at the end of it. I'd like to learn, I'm a drummer, but I'd like to learn some percussion on the side. Is that possible? Yes, absolutely. It tends not to be tuned percussion, Amber, but Latin percussion. Our drum tutor, Dave Hassel, is the world's leading expert in Latin percussion, and he definitely does that with his students in years 3 and 4. Imogen asks, is it a benefit if you know some music production things like working with Logic, recording and producing? Yes, it is. Please get stuck into that if you've not had any experience yet. Heta asks, which instrument gets the most applicants? By far and away, the most populated discipline is vocals. but we do take twice as many of those. We take 12, but I generally see in the region of about 120 singers. Then it's guitar and drums, and then the minority sports, it won't surprise you to know, are bass, guitar and keyboards. So that's usually what happens over the period of time I've been doing this, the last 13 years. That's kind of what happens each year. Somebody with a number from 005250. Hello. Do you offer conditional offers to people who are taking their theory or practical reg during their gap year? Yes. Sarah asks, will it be a video audition regardless of Corona? Yes, it will. We have plans in place to open again in September, but we have to give the priority to our existing students to get back in the building, and it will be a phased reintroduction into the building from September through to Christmas. And so bringing in then another, I don't know, 2,000 auditions into the building is going to be very, very challenging and not consistent. So we've made the decision that we're going to be doing video auditions. If that changes, if things move faster and we open up sooner than we anticipated, then we will obviously contact candidates and let you know. Paul asks, how many applicants do you take on the course each year? 36, Paul. 6 keys, 6 drums, 6 bass, 6 guitar and 12 singers. George, will the video auditions be pre-recorded and then sent, or will they be performed live? They'll be pre-recorded, George, and uploaded onto Accepted, which is the platform that we're going to be using. But we will send very kind of detailed guidelines on how you do that, and there will be one-take live performances that you will then upload. Etta, if I turn 16 a few days after the summer course this year, can I still apply? Providing that you turn 18 by December in your first year, you can. Oh, sorry, you're referring to the summer course, aren't you? Yes, you can. You can apply to the summer course. Why is the application date so early? Asks Mary. That's a good question. The conservatoire sector in the UK all put their auditions before Christmas. I think what happened is one institution in London moved them earlier than others, and everybody else followed suit so that they could compete for the same students at the same time. So this is a kind of historical hangover, I think, from the classical conservatoire world, where they wanted to audition students early. I actually like this. I think it gives everybody a real sense of security, I think, going forward, and it gives you a whole best part of a year to kind of get your stuff together before you start the program. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Adam, how many drummers do you let in? 6, Adam. Alistair asks, could we get a link of those audition pieces? I can't find it on the site. Yeah, it is on there somewhere, Alistair. I'll make sure our marketing team have got that for you. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head now. This might be a dangerous thing. Guitarists, it's Beat It by Michael Jackson. Bass players, it's Animal Spirits by Wolfpack. Keyboard players, it's Rosanna by Toto. Drummers, it's Stand Up by PB Underground. Female vocalists is Get Here, the Jessie J version, and male vocalists, I'm doing the full set now, is Human by Rag and Bone Man. So I hope that saves you some time searching around the website. Charlotte asks, how many of those auditioned get a place? 36. And she then asks, is it compulsory to have a Trinity certification, or can we just get once we're doing the course? It depends. You need to have the qualifications that I listed on the previous page there. Trinity is an acceptable one within that. Nathan asks, are there any entry requirements for the summer school? No, but we take it in good faith that you're going to be operating at a level which will make it an enjoyable experience for you, and that you don't sort of feel out of your depth with the other musicians. The standard of musicians who do this are the kind of people who are thinking of applying. So the standard is generally pretty good. Matt asks, what if your chosen track for audition is already on an exam board? That's fine, as long as you've really chosen that track and you really like it and it's from an artist that you really admire. Grace, can you join the course with saxophone? No, not the popular program, but you can join the classical program on saxophone. Sarah, when will we get the criteria for the other piece we play in the audition? I think I just covered that one. Heta asks, can you get lessons on other instruments, keys and guitar? You can, and these need to be arranged between yourselves or privately. We provide principal study teaching on one instrument. You really need the time to develop on that instrument and devote the time to it. But if you want to trade lessons with other people, you can do that. George asks, for the audition songs, are you looking for the song to be played identical to the original, or are you looking for our artistic take? That's a great question, George. It's high risk to do your own version of it. It's a safer bet to do it as the original track, but if you want to put a little bit of yourself in there, then please do. Just be careful with how you approach that. Make sure that stylistically it's appropriate and that you're still on point. Cheethan asks, oh, I know this might be a weird question. Don't worry, all questions are good. But for the guitar piece, Beat It, does it include playing Van Halen's little solo as well? Yes, it does. That's why we've chosen it. That piece has got all sorts in there in terms of riff playing, rhythm playing, and the solo. So yeah, we'd like you to have a crack at the solo. Grace, can you play multiple instruments on the course that are not used properly? Yes, you can, but you will have your main discipline as the instrument that you're assessed on. And another Grace asks, does every vocalist get a chance to perform in the session orchestra concerts? Session orchestra is by audition. We do 3 projects per year, and we send out an audition notice a couple of months in advance of each project and the pieces that we're going to be performing, and then you get together with a band that we fix and you come and do the audition, and if you're successful, then you get the gig. Okay, that's all of the questions. If anybody's got any others, then please give me a shout or put something in the chat. Otherwise, I just want to conclude by saying a big thank you. Oh, Alistair. Oh, sorry, we've got a couple more now. Can we play songs for the audition via Spotify? Yes, you can. And roughly how many bassists apply versus acceptance rate? Normally, Alistair Webb asked that one. Normally, Alistair, the bassist is usually about between 15 and 20, and we take 6. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I'm just going to finish off now by playing you a final piece of music. This is by a band called Mei Ling. And once this one's over, that's the end of our session. We're sort of bang on time with 2 hours. So thank you for your patience. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. And I really look forward to hearing you in your audition should you decide to apply. Final thanks to all of our students who've taken place today. Final question from Mary. As the auditions are via video, does it have to be a cappella? No, you can perform to a track, backing track. Okay. Hope that's answered everyone's questions. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Here is our final musical offering, and it's by a 4th-year band who are just on the way off the programme. They're called Mei Ling. This one's a tiny bit longer than the others. It's worth the wait. It's a slow burn, but you'll see some extraordinary musicianship in this one. This is an instrumental track by Mei Ling. Okay, bye everybody. All right, guys. Something a little different to finish us off with. Just one final thing, just to remind you that this afternoon, starting at 2 o'clock, you've got the opportunity to go into instrument-specific groups and to meet our tutor team. So waiting for you in another Zoom room at 2 are our principal study teachers for drums, bass, guitar, keys and vocals. And you've got a chance there to go to the appropriate room and meet them. And it's a chance for you to ask some more detailed questions about your specific discipline. But for now, that's it from me. Thanks once again for joining me, and stay safe and have a great rest of the day. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.